Hi there, that's right, it's great and glorious, soon to be famous one day, Nick Dutch, back on the camera again one more time. Grab yourself a nice cup of tea and chill out for a few minutes. I'm just going to ramble on for a while about beliefs. This is just an informal video, this is not actually research, this is just me sitting down, thinking, filling myself up with a bit of caffeine and a bit of nicotine and just trying to mull over a few ideas. And I was thinking about beliefs, and yeah, beliefs can be powerful things. But what precisely are they? When someone says they believe something, precisely what do they mean? When there is a belief, what is a belief in practice? What are the definitions of beliefs? And then you can move up the scale a little further to knowledge, and precisely what is knowledge? Well, how do we quantify and qualify knowledge? What is it that makes knowledge knowledge? And how do we measure changes and progress in the way that knowledge actually works and actually is? And then of course you've got the final side of things, which would be fact. And how can we say that something is a fact? I mean, are there, at this end of the scale, let's say there's a scale here, roughly speaking, you've got beliefs there, you've got knowledge there, you've got facts there, and I do see it as a bit of a scale. Things which are facts are objectively true. I mean, objectively, solidly true, such as, this is made of metal, okay, that's a fact, alright? Or, that's also made out of metal, okay? Those are facts. Straightforward, basic, simple facts. But are there other facts about the way the universe works that we don't know about? Alright, remember, putting in this compartment facts, in this compartment knowledge, in this compartment beliefs, okay? So are there facts about the way the world works, about the way that nature works, the cells of the body, and, I don't know, the atmosphere, or forms of electromagnetic radiation, or other forms of radiation we don't know about, or the function of dark matter and dark energy, which are still facts, are still hard and fast objectively true, but we don't yet know them. And as we don't have any knowledge of them, we can't say that we believe them. Okay, so we neither believe them nor do we know them, but they're still facts. Well, let's have a quick look and think about knowledge. How do we quantify and qualify what knowledge actually is? Sure, with the passage of time, science progresses, doesn't it? We find out more about the universe, and scientists learn more about things which are true within their various different disciplines, but they can't really step outside of their discipline too far, can they? As I'm sure you can realize. So the standards of what is known is being elaborated upon and expanded upon with the passage of time. And then finally you got belief here. Okay, so it's belief, knowledge, and fact. So what are we talking about when we're talking about beliefs? It's not knowledge, it's belief. Alright? So what are we talking about there? I mean, surely there must be a whole scale of beliefs. You got to have anything from strongly held beliefs to not so strongly held beliefs to something more theoretical, something more hypothetical, something a little more abstract. When we're talking about political beliefs, are we talking about beliefs or are we talking about opinions? Are we talking about apparent opinions, which are the result of apparent or alleged facts, when in fact they're not facts, they just seem like they're facts, which is then creating the belief itself? Maybe personal experience has a part to play in the generation of beliefs. But personal experiences need to be balanced and counterbalanced with a certain level of reason, so that you don't develop beliefs which are necessarily detrimental to yourself, or based upon things which actually aren't true at all, aren't actually objectively true, but they're still beliefs or strongly held opinions. I suppose what I'm trying to bring home to you right now is the subject of what a belief is really rather complex. Very complex. Okay? And it's in common language we confuse them, don't we? We habitually confuse them. We can say stupid things like, I believe in the theory of evolution, when in fact the theory of evolution is not a theory in terms of common language. Just think about that phrase for a minute, the theory of evolution. When that's being filtered through colloquial language, it comes out completely different than in scientific language. I mean, the theory of evolution is fact. Right? It is a fact of the way that organic systems change over time, thanks to natural selection and forces outside of outside of our bodies, wear and tear, and all kinds of other factors. Okay, it's real. But if we say, I believe in the theory of evolution, that makes the theory of evolution itself sound a bit shaky because it's being based upon a belief. So it seems, alright, it's bad use of language. Presumably, what a person means when they say, I believe in the theory of evolution is, I have a strong opinion that the theory of evolution is fact. But then they're not actually using those words, but presumably that's what they're trying to convey. But instead they use the word belief. So, in that example, the word belief refers to a strong opinion. Are all beliefs that strong? And do all beliefs fulfill the same requirements and are of the same type as the belief in the theory of evolution or the belief in the theory of gravity, for instance? No. But believers themselves get confused. Alright? They get confused in what the word belief means. And if a believer is perpetually, like on a daily basis or on a weekly basis or very regularly, in the company of people who are using the ideas which come from those beliefs, they can get a little confused and they can start to perhaps see these beliefs as if they were facts, when essentially they're not. Alright? If the evidence is good enough, which it isn't always, but if it is good enough, you might even be able to say they've developed some knowledge, because essentially scientific knowledge has come out of observation, experimentation, research, and all the rest of that. So maybe the common man might have actually gained some knowledge, but to the most part it would still be a strongly held opinion. Are you with me so far? Why not think about another dimension of belief? Namely, the variety of belief, because there's a whole massive spectrum of different types of belief. The variety of belief, which is a suggestion that the world seems to work in some ways to a certain degree under some circumstances which are not properly understood. Would that be a belief? It would. It certainly wouldn't fit into the category of knowledge. It certainly wouldn't fit into the category of fact. It would be an extrapolation to a certain degree based upon possibly some experiences. Would that be a strongly held belief? Probably not. It would not be the level of belief of someone who says, I believe it, therefore it's true. Or, I know it's true, as some types of individuals are prone to, when in fact what they're talking about is a belief plus a personal experience. And a belief plus a personal experience does not necessarily create a fact. Okay? But things get even more complex when people can start to look at beliefs, and these beliefs could in fact be indicative of some facts about the way that the world works. But the individuals might not have understood what they had experienced and what they believed properly enough for them to be able to legitimately call something a fact. But they themselves might still say it is a fact, or that they know it's true, when in fact they believe based upon some experiences. What is the battle over beliefs really about? Is it about telling people what is true? Not necessarily. Is it about explaining knowledge? Not necessarily. It's a question of attacking strongly held opinions. Not weakly held opinions, but strongly held opinions. Or at least that's the way it seems. Is there something a little more insidious about this? Is there another political agenda going on? Just as when conspiracy theorists are trying to terrify people away from Freemasonry, witchcraft, and the occult, seem to be doing so to try and turn people into conservatives, rather than necessarily warning them about an impending global depopulation and the start of the New World Order and the idea that the aliens are going to come down and destroy us, or the moon is being jet propelled by an Airfix JetX motor somewhere inside it. But it's more to do with terrifying people, so they end up developing conservative values about the family, about the church, about free market economics, and small governments with low taxes. All right, that seems to be the agenda there. So, is there a similar political ideology amongst those who regard themselves as being like scientifically enlightened when they're attacking the opinions or the strongly held views of the other side of the spectrum? That's just something to think about. And if so, is there an undercurrent agenda? It's not just a question of education, it's not just a question of the ideas of global warming. There may be something else going on there. But I think that the ideology is not totally firmed up yet. But one of the things that I would say right now is, if belief is essentially opinions, and they can be very strong, they can be moderately strong, they can be quite weak, they can be an assumed structure about the way the world works, and if they're not political, what is wrong with them? I mean, one thing that I will say is, if a belief makes someone more likely to not get the right medicines when they're sick, I would say that's dangerous. Okay? If a belief makes someone want to take up arms and go and attack an innocent individual, then that's a serious issue. But what aspects of the belief structure of that individual has made them do it? And was it just because they were under a particular umbrella term? Or was it because they themselves had problems and had not properly received the right level of, or the right style of education at an early stage in life prior to being exposed to these ideas? And therefore, is the individual in question just very sick? Or is it actually because they've got some variety of title, be it religious or spiritual or whatever? It is, of course, quite fascinating that those who are of the bent of being an atheistic free thinker can actually confuse belief and knowledge and fact quite substantially, because in their case they will say something like, if you can provide me with proof, then I will believe it. Well, firstly, that's a lie, isn't it? Because if I provided you with, solid proof from numerous scientific studies here, there, and everywhere from reputable universities during a time when the standards of science were very high, and there was enough information there for you to plough through it, if you were prepared, of course, to plough through it, which in many cases certain people aren't. And they were then convinced on the strength not of an argument, but of hard and fast scientific facts backed up by experimentation results, statistical analysis, and more. Would they actually be believers? No, they would be in a position of knowledge within any limitations of the source information that they've managed to get their hands on. So they won't be believers. So they're lying, essentially. Because belief tends to come before knowledge, doesn't it? It's something which can stimulate you to further research or investigation. It can something which can make you want to ask a few extra questions. So essentially there's a lot of good things about beliefs because it can make you ask more questions. It depends upon the strength of the belief. It depends upon the accents, whether it is to do with your health, or whether it is to do with your politics, or violence or crime or something along those lines, and trying to get those attitudes just right. I mean, the whole subject is incredibly complex. We can't make it simple and black and white. I mean, heaven knows I myself would like to make it simple and black and white, just so that it's easier to be able to discuss. If I turn around to you and say, I believe in God, does that mean I know that God exists? Most certainly not. Was it a claim to truth? No. Was it a statement of knowledge? No. It was an opinion, basically, based upon some forms of strange personal experiences and thought. And you don't have to share it, but it is my belief. And it certainly won't affect my politics, and it certainly won't affect the way I deal with my health problems, and it certainly won't make me buy a machine gun and scream various religious words in various languages prior to going out and hurting people. It's just a belief. It's pretty harmless. Some people can't do that, and that appears to be because they've got their standards screwed up. There's this... When someone goes to a religious organization, I mean, let's just say hypothetically someone goes to a religious organization and they hear the word should being mentioned a lot. These people might take on board the idea that all of these things that they should do or should not do are orders that they must obey. And in some cases they all have taken it to the extremes, and it might even become something which they regard as a marker of conduct. Which maybe there's an overlap there, but isn't necessarily something which is quite that concrete. No, is the short answer. And also they can get confused about the difference between the opinions they're developing and their politics. And so it can get very difficult for some people. I don't think it's just a question of education or intelligence, although they need to be educated to be able to separate the religious or spiritual way of seeing the world from the political way of seeing the world, and of course from social action, which is again something that really should start occurring in the New Age world, as well as in the Christian world, as well as in the Jewish world, the Islamic world, and all the rest of them, and even in the secularist world as well. Learning how to get the balance right and get the ideas in the right perspective is pretty essential. Anyway, I've rambled on for long enough for the moment. I will bid you good fortune and God bless, and I'll speak to you again soon. Nick Dutch signing out for now.